Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel for another fishing video. Hopefully this will be the third one on the channel. Normally I would like to do it on the beautiful lake in front of me. However, this road is extremely busy behind me and there's like 40 tractor trailers every 5 minutes. So I decided to just do it in my car like the last video, just so it's not as obnoxious. I tried to do it outside and like 8 tractor trailers and a fire engine went by, so yep, that's what we get for trying to do videos outside. Today we'll be fishing Lake Ontelaunee in between Leesport and Fleetwood, Pennsylvania. It is beautiful, however, it is also a drinking water reservoir, so there's not going to be any boats. Very little people will probably be here today. Like in this parking lot, there's 1 car. The most I've ever seen near me at this time is like 3 people. So it shouldn't be too bad, but it can get pretty packed with people doing bird watching, or just here for lunch, picnics, whatever. So it is a beautiful, beautiful spot. It is very renowned for bird watching as well. So if you're a big bird watcher like I am, this place is amazing. Part of the snow geese migration like Middle Creek and stuff like that. This is beautiful, so I'll be doing some bird watching as well. Today I am not gearing for every multi-species as of now. Like, I have gear for them, but today I am predominantly focusing on spawning bass and maybe a snakehead. Snakeheads are a huge problem in here. They have the biggest ones around, so definitely, you know, and I'm looking at birds flying past, of course. The ADHD is great for today. Of course, you know, if you catch a snakehead, deal with that problem. I just saw some people a few days ago post online. They got like 6 of them, like monstrous ones too. So definitely not great. That is very much an invasive problem, and I'm still looking to catch my first one because they are invasive, but they are awesome to definitely fight and catch, and I heard they're delicious as well. So but predominantly I'm going after spawning bass today, or pre-spawn bass. Got my record smallmouth last time on a little bait, so I do have a medium light rod. I brought my Daiwa for that one. That is primarily going to be wacky rigs, maybe throwing some grubs like I caught the big bass on a couple days ago. And then I also have a heavy rod, which is going to be top water probably for the most part, unless I need something specific, and then a couple medium heavy rods just for drop shots, some top water baits, chatter baits. I just bought a bunch of them because I'm trying to learn it. So all in all, that's what we're going to be primarily fishing for today, is primarily bass. But yeah, I'm excited to get out there. It's going to be extremely hot today. I've obviously been wearing my hat outside walking around, so it is already a scorcher. It's going to be feeling about 90 plus today, so I miss you spring, I miss you fall, and even some winter. I hate the summer. I can't do the heat, I'm not good at it. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me on my first video. Did really, really well at the time of recording this. My second video is not quite out yet, but hopefully that does well too. So thank you guys so much for all your support, and I'll see you out there. Everybody, so here's our first stop. Of course, we have sirens and motorcycles going past. Well, after that's blaring, here's our first spot. I don't have too good of luck in here, honestly. This is like my lure killing area. I've lost a ton of lures to this area. There's just a whole bunch of snags and a whole lot of crap just in the water here. I say that as I throw my new Z-Man jackhammer, one of the more expensive lures in my box. I'm trying a new trailer out too, which is the Z-Man, or not Z-Man, the Rapala City Freeloader. Looks really nice. Saw some decent reviews for it. In the 3/8 ounce weight for the Z-Man, and I believe the 4.5 inch for the trailer. See if we can get some bites. This area I have not had a lot of luck in for bass, but my personal best perch from in here, ironically, on a small chatterbait. I believe that was last, like, October. There we go. I would think that can hop over. More just a quick try. And as for this lake, it is a tough lake. Like I was saying in the intro, there is no boating here, so obviously a lot of those deeper, bigger fish, as long as they stay at us in very specific spots, you're probably going to be okay. I'm also throwing a couple frogs probably today. The main reason being, yeah, sure, you can get obviously amazing bass bite on them. It is snakehead infested land in here right now, so see if we can land my first snakehead today. That would be awesome inclusion to the spawning video for bass. Not a lot of hopes, and honestly I'm a terrible frog fisherman, so this is my only heavy spinning rod actually. Specifically today is probably going to be for throwing these frogs, just in case I wind up hooking a big old snakehead. There's a big old bird out there. I think that is a cormorant. There's quite a bit of them in here. I saw some bubbles in here. The next, just quick toss in, see what we do on a sketchy little ledge here. Yeah, I ain't going down there. So we did just get a thunderstorm this morning, so everything here a little treacherous. I did remember my hiking shoes today, so I'm not a complete idiot. I do at least have my North Faces on, and also, you know, for the first time ever, I remembered a drink. I actually remembered my body armor that I buy for every fishing trip and then don't bring. The only issue is I forgot food, so we'll see. If I fish the whole way through till work, I might just grab some food elsewhere. There's a quick shop right next to here that makes just the best fried chicken, so shout out to Red Earth. You make awesome fried chicken. This little spot, if this segment makes it in, because I doubt I'm catching anything here, I caught my first ever fish on a fly here. I was using a little, like, 5-foot cheap $20 like Daiwa samurai rod, and I was just literally hand throwing little flies at the tiniest little bluegills and stuff like that, and I finally hooked one. And like, obviously you're excited, and trying to fish with a fly for the first time, let alone on spin gear, dry, no spout, nothing, no weight, and I'm literally like hand tossing this, and you know, obviously you get excited, you know, you catch, I'm gonna keep moving then, you keep, you know, you catch your first fish on a fly, no matter what size it is and whatever you're using. It's still exciting, you know. It's like a whole other area of fishing that I you know, have never really delved into too much. And this guy comes over around the corner thinking I caught, like, you know, 48-inch muskie, and I caught like a 4-inch bluegill, and he just gives me the look, and I'm like, yeah, it's my first fish on a fly. He didn't care. He just kind of walked away and shrugged his shoulders. It's like, listen, be happy, you know? There's no reason to be that mad about things. Alright, we have wasted our time on the front as usual. It's about 10:30, so honestly, about 20 minutes of just hammering this part of the shoreline that doesn't produce. Fine by me. Could have been better, could have been worse, but now we're moving to the busy old highway side of things, and I don't know how well the GoPro is gonna react to all of that noise. So apologies if this is hard to hear for any of this. It's obviously my first time actually at a lake with a GoPro doing any fishing and all that stuff, so probably gonna stop in this little shallow corner here. Whew. God, I'm out of shape. Yeah, once you almost hit 30, you know, your life just goes downhill. Right in here, very shallow, produces a ton of green sunfish. Not this year so far. Now, that's not everybody's favorite thing, but there's still a whole lot of fun to catch. That's a nice sign when the bait fish are actually like feeding and they're healthy. Not much this year at all yet. came here a couple weeks ago with my girlfriend. She wanted a picnic, I wanted a fishing trip. Works out well. So we eventually, she sat over there, we were having a good time, and I was throwing every little bait I could think of that I've ever caught sunfish on, a bluegill, nothing. Some real little ones, but nothing of any note or size at all. But there have been some monster bass just getting hammered in here right now, so hence the reason we are here today with all heavy gear and one light little rod. That's not a bad little bluegill, I think, was picking at its tail. I can definitely just throw a little rub on this if I want to just, you know, catch the first bluegill or green sunfish or something like that on the channel. That's fine by me. You know what? Oh, that's actually a bass right there. Try and get him to, yeah, there's a little bass up shallow. Perfect wacky rig material. Actually, so he's a real small one. I'm definitely getting a lot of looks in here. We have that bass up shallow. There's some real nice looking bluegill. I'm probably gonna switch this to a little finesse bait. I don't want to get, you know, hammered down with catching the little guys during spawn season, but I do at least want to catch something in this first spot. Try and bring it in from the side. He didn't hit like a bass. He was very much a relatively small one, probably last year born. And you know, he couldn't even take a very small bait, one probably the smallest thing I have in my bag. Main reason I didn't set the hook was I thought it was that same little bluegill from earlier. It was just hitting that light. Alright, I might switch to something just a little bit more finessey. What we got? This is not the best rod for casting these little lures. This is more of a medium than a medium light. The Mach series, my favorite rod, I actually did not bring it. I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone, you know. If you have 16 rods and you only use one, yeah, you're really proud of that one rod, but like, you own 15 others. You gotta use them eventually. There's our first fish of the day. Oh, it's a really nice green sunfish, actually. That's a nice one. Beautiful colors on him. That'll be the first green sunfish on the channel. Just toss that rod down there. He is beautiful. He's actually, that is the nicest looking green sunfish I've ever caught. I'm willing to put money on that. I'm gonna take a quick photo, and then we'll toss that old girl back. Thank you, little buddy, for playing. Right into the rock she goes. That is a beautiful fish right there. And if you're curious, I talked about this a little, I think, my last couple videos for fishing. I post on Fishbrain a lot. That's actually how, you know, I find a lot of these new spots or baits that are out of the ordinary and make some friends with you guys and some of the viewers, just local fishermen and all that. I always have the link posted in my fishing videos. If you're interested, give me a follow. I always take pictures and I post on there. You can see some fish before they're posted on YouTube too, which is pretty cool. Yeah, we're getting looks from some really nice sunnies in this area, and I know that's not pre-spawn bass mode, but a big sunfish is a fish nonetheless. Something I want to get a... Oh, that was a big old spider on my leg. That's unfortunate. Something I want to get better about is just not trying to force myself into, you know, going somewhere for 6 hours and it's like, oh, I didn't get enough for a full video, scrap it all. I should be looking at it as, all right, that can be part 1, or I go back another day and I just like make it a full-length video. Something like that is where I'm trying to get to in terms of like a comfort level, because I don't want fishing to be stressful. That one green sunfish really liked it, and then that was it. Oh, and if you also see my phone, as I'm walking out, I'm not trying to ignore the GoPro and text or anything like that. I am a huge bird watcher, and this happens to be like a bird watcher's dream in here. And I'm talking like you can do 20 to 50 species a day in here, and like things you're not seeing a lot of other places. Like those double-breasted cormorants are very cool. You don't see those very often. Fishermen don't particularly like them because they eat everything, but they're still very cool to see. Out that way, haven't seen them in a while, but there is a big bird flying around over there. We had a mating pair of, I missed that one. Mating pair of bald eagles. Last year is when I actually like really started to start fishing again. I've fished since I was like 3 or 4 years old. My grandparents had a pond. That was a big bite. That was a big bite actually down there. I don't know if it's a little bass. But anyways, last year, right down in that area we're going to in a little bit is just lily pad land. There's just tons and tons of lily pads and thick ones. So I'm trying to not talk while there we go. Bigger cars around. There we go. Another little green sunfish. Honestly, it's still so much fun to just come out and catch. And that's my thing. If I don't catch a single bass today, as long as I'm catching some of the most beautiful sunnies you can ever find, I'm cool with that. I almost just fell in the water because there was a bee on my leg. Take a little picture, and we toss him back. Thank you, buddy. But yeah, obviously this is all fun and good, but we will be switching to the bass gear here pretty soon. But you know what? First green sunfish on the channel. Still a lot of fun. If you're like me, and you want to catch like every species. Like that is your goal. You want to catch like all these freshwater species. Ooh, out of the water for that little guy. Oh my God, he's taking some fight. Look at that, the first bluegill on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. And he is an aggressive one. All right, wow, what an aggressive little bluegill. And that is a picture perfect bluegill if I've ever seen one. Thanks for playing, little buddy. You were awesome. That is that is an awesome bluegill right there. And you know what? What I was saying, if you're like me and you like just catching a ton of different species, and if you go to a lake, you have a rod for everything, especially your first time. Unless you're going for one specific species, like today even was supposed to be just bass for me, but can't ignore these big panfish sitting here. This is the best green sunfish spot that I've ever fished, and I mean some sizable ones. Like by far and away my personal best green sunfish are from in here. I've caught 30 in a day on 3 baits, and literally the same lure, just 3 of them from getting tail picked and stuff like that. We've also, so in terms of the species you can catch in here, it is pretty much endless. You got obviously the invasive snakehead. I'm not sure. I think it is illegal to throw them back in PA, but do not quote me on that. And little Sunny quite literally just took the tail off this guy. However, they do typically still catch without the tail, as long as it's just the tip off. But in terms of the species, you've got largemouth bass, some very big ones. I caught my biggest one here in, I think, October last year. It's about 16 and a half, 17 and a half inches, somewhere around there. Really nice one, all the way down. I'm getting a little bit of a bite here, but nothing. There's a turtle coming this way, and if that's a snapping turtle, we're politely moving out of his direction. I am not about that today. He's right off camera. He just dunked his head down as soon as I talked. It's actually the first turtle I've ever seen in here, and I've spent probably over 100 hours on this lake. But again, in terms of species, we've got largemouth bass. Obviously, you just saw bluegill. You got bluegill, the green sunfish, largemouth bass, invasive snakeheads. I think rock bass, but I could be wrong. I honestly have to look and see if I ever caught one in here. I'm a rock bass guy. No matter where I go, I catch rock bass. Trust me, if you ever log onto my Fishbrain, you'll see I catch rock bass like nobody's business. I think I was like, I was second in the entire group, like in Fishbrain for like rock bass caught in like April of last year or something crazy. I was so happy. But you have yellow perch, which are just about my favorite fish to catch. I love them. Pound for pound, they're so much fun. I am catch and release, however, I will make this comment, they are delicious as well. We used to fish in 1,000 Islands, New York, and like St. Lawrence Seaway and stuff, and I'll wait till this truck goes past. And there's a restaurant up there called O'Brien's. Their fried perch, oh my god, it just, oh, I miss it. I miss it every day. I can't wait to go back up there and fish. And then last year, I caught something that nobody expected out of here, a white perch. Oh, well, there's the turtle. I do see him. As soon as I casted my bait in there, I saw that turtle, and I think I'm moving away from him. Oh, we got one. I had to tighten my drag a little bit. We got one, and I think it's a big one. Yes, it is, boys and girls. That's a big old girl right there. Wow. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Let's get you up. Wow. That is a beautiful fish right there. And sadly, there is a hook in her. So off camera, I'm going to see if I can get that out. But that is a beautiful, beautiful fish right there. I had a couple people from the highway even giving a look. That is awesome. That is awesome. So I'm going to take a quick picture and see if I can get that hook out of her. All right. Hook has been removed. Thankfully, it looks like she should be okay. She wasn't bleeding. There was nothing that seemed too incredibly wrong with her. However, she did have a bit of a belly, so I'm really hoping that that hook didn't like kill any of the eggs or anything like that. whoever did break off, so that was on a like an EUG hook, EWG hook. It was barbless. I was actually able to just kind of help her pass it, and she swam off perfectly fine. Hopefully she's okay, but she was very close to passing that hook, and it kind of just needed a little bit of a nudge because like the gap in it. So hopefully we saved that bass's life actually. So thank you, big girl, for playing. That's easily one of my biggest bass here. I did not measure her or get a weight or anything, just because, you know, with that hook in her, I wanted to make sure we just got her taken care of and make sure she was okay. But first bass at Ontelaunee, and that was a big girl right there. That was awesome. Very, very nice sized bass. And see, on a 3-inch worm in the spot I was standing for like 20 minutes at least. That's, you know, sometimes you just gotta pick your battles, slow it down a little bit, throw your confidence bait like I am currently, and then go from there. Hopefully she has a good spawn. I think it was a she. It could have been a he. Still got, you know, a lot of real estate to cover. There we go. Not a big one, but another victim to the wacky rig. Oh, look at that little guy. That is the size that I was seeing earlier as I wacky rigged myself. Look at that little guy. Take a quick picture. And we'll toss him back. Thank you, buddy. Not the biggest one in the world, but hey, fish is a fish, right? Beats working. You know, and that's the irony. I broke out all my like bass gear, my heavy gear, just in case, you know, pre-spawn, aggressive, throwing some bigger baits, and then, you know, oh, just in case, I'll throw a little wacky rig, and of course this will catch every bass today. This little 3-inch worm. That's, you know, it's great. I love it, but you know, when you spend $100 at Dick's Sporting Goods yesterday on chatterbaits and trailers and more hooks and all that good stuff, you know, it'd be nice to catch something on one of them. All right, well, made my way back to our original productive and only productive spot here today. Water's a lot choppier than it was. There was a bunch of ducks sitting in here right as I came over, so we'll see. My expectations here are a little low. Yeah, the wind's just ripping my line apart. looking like this little end trip here is going to be a bust. I have a feeling. Yep, I think this trip here is kaput. Oh, we got something. I think it's a little largemouth to end off the day. Yep, a little largemouth to end off the day. Well, thankfully, it's on a. We end today on a high note at least. You know, hey, it's a nice little guy, and it ends us off on a fish. Alright, little buddy. I'll see you later. Thank you. I will say, the new Samsung phones don't autofocus for, worth a damn. They're terrible. I don't know what it is, but... It took me like 15 tries. I had to restart my camera just to take that little photo. What the hell is going on with this now? Alright, well that's probably where we're gonna cut it. Just because the wind's picking up. We ended on a fish. 3 largemouth. I had a fish and a stick, I think, right there. Because I kept like smacking it to get the stick off. And I saw like a little white stomach roll, so interesting. There's a little guy following it. But yeah, that's probably where we're gonna end it. I don't foresee any other luck coming from this spot at this point today, but you know what? Never mind. We got a big girl. Not a big girl, but decent sized girl. There we go. That's better. Awesome. Well, glad I came back down here. What's up, man? I think that's a little buck. Certainly looks like it. Awesome. Well, you know what? Not the biggest one in the world, but much better way to end it off than nothing at all. So thank you very much, buddy. Toss you in. Thanks a lot, bud. Thank you for playing. He went right in the rock here. He's just sitting at my feet. There he goes. I'll have to go terrorize a bluegill. What? My lucky bait just continues, I guess. I don't know why I bother buying expensive lures. I just need to buy 300 of these and a bunch of little small hooks or small jig heads, and I'll be fine. Alright, I doubt there's any more over there. I just gotta keep... Oh, I didn't even notice there was dirt on that until I threw it. Well, that is a good way to end things. Yeah. So on that note, it is probably where I'm going to end this here fishing trip. You know what? I'm glad I got frustrated for a little bit there, and I'm glad I stuck with it because, I'm not the biggest bass in the world, but hey, catching some fish, that's what it's all about, right? I was debating tossing the wacky rig out to that area where they were sitting, but you know what I think? They might have been the two, oh, that was a snag. Might have been the two I was watching in here earlier that wouldn't bite. I think those were probably the two. They might have a little something on that side going on, at least a couple of them. Well, you know what? Went down here for some bluegill, some sunnies. Just to try and end off the video with something. And we ended on 2 bass, so it's a good way to look at it, I guess. You know what? I'll do a couple casts with the wacky rig, then I'm out of here. I need food. I need a damn drink. And then it is off to work. Don't worry, that is a tree branch, not the St. Croix. I stepped on that one earlier, and I swear to God, I thought it was my rod. Alright, so I'll throw this little wacky rig quick. Literally just a couple casts, and then I'm gonna call it for the day. You know what? On the wacky rig, I saw it. I saw him coming over to it. What do we got? Oh, we got a real nice sunny on the wacky rig. That is a beautiful one. Again, the colors in here, they are just the prettiest little green sunfish I've ever seen. All right, little buddy, thank you for playing. The wacky rig strikes again. My first sunfish on a medium heavy rod. I did want to be careful on that. I didn't want to set the hook too hard on her and hurt her. You know what? I think I'm snagged. Yeah, I think that's the end of that rig. Yep. Alright, well. That is probably just gonna about do it. I might just toss a couple more because at least I know there's some Sunny's still sitting in there. Oh, there's a bite, for sure. Trying to entice him a little bit. Come on, I'll slow it down. Slowing it down. Toss it back out there. See if... Is that snail stuck to it? Big old bug on my leg. No idea what that was. But I have bug spray in my bag. You know, it involves usually using it. But I'm an idiot, so. There was a nice little bluegill down there. Saw him surface a little bit. I think I have been snagged. Well, on that note, a little disappointing way to end the video, but that is going to do it for me. I'm gonna go get some food and some drinks. I'll do like a big panoramic shot of this place before I head out. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this portion. I'll do my outro, and then that's gonna be it for this trip. All right, everybody, there you have it. My very first video at a lake that I do fish quite often, and I definitely love. Close to where I grew up. Not too far from where I currently live, so it's definitely a nice drive, but it is a very beautiful spot nonetheless. If you come here, please pick up your litter, since that is the problem. After so many trips here, that is definitely the issue of cleaning up after everybody. But as you can see, this is a beautiful, pristine watering hole. I absolutely love it here, and there are some monster fish to be had if you want to try your luck here. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another video. Tight lines, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Keep fishing, everyone.